Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel, The Appearance of Clean. I do cooking, cleaning, and organizational videos. If you're new, thank you for joining me and I hope you will consider hitting the subscribe button and that bell for notification of new videos. If you are returning to my channel, thank you so much. Today is actually going to be a cooking video. I'm just cleaning up and making myself a workspace before I get going. I'm going to be doing a peppered steak in the crock pot, a recipe that I have not done before, but it looks super easy and delicious. And then I'm also going to be doing a chicken fajita casserole in the oven. So enjoy the video. I will post the recipes in my description box. The recipe for the peppered steak comes from Pinterest, and it is calling for 2.5 to 3 pounds of stew meat. So I've got 3.3 pounds here. I'm also going to use 1 yellow bell pepper and 1 green bell pepper. I'm going to seed those and take the ribs out and then cut them into strips. And then I'm also going to use half of a white onion. Once I get my peppers and onions chopped up, I'm going to add those to the crock pot with the meat. Before I put the meat in, I did spray the crock pot with a canola cooking spray oil. The recipe says you can use a baking liner or a crock pot liner if you prefer that as well. Now I'm adding my beef broth. The recipe calls for 3 cups. However, I'm also adding a can of stewed tomatoes in their juices, so I am not using all the beef broth. If you do not add the stewed tomatoes, then you would want to use that whole 3 cups. Now I'm going to make a slurry using half a cup of soy sauce. I'm using low sodium soy sauce and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. You want to whisk that all together and get it mixed really well because you don't want any clumps of the cornstarch in the mix. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop and chop 2 fresh cloves of garlic, mincing those up pretty good and then adding that to the crock pot with the meat and vegetables. All right, well, once I add all the minced garlic, I'm gonna go ahead and add my salt and pepper. I've got 1 teaspoon of finely ground pepper and half a teaspoon of table salt. And then I'm gonna add that slurry of the soy sauce and cornstarch mixture. Once I get it all in, I'm gonna mix it up really good because I don't want all the seasonings on top and I don't want all the peppers on the bottom. I'm going to put it on low for 6 hours, but you can also put it on high for 4. I think this meal will freeze well. I think it'll do well reheated, good on tortillas, good by itself, good on mashed potatoes or rice. I can tell you already it smells amazing. I'll let you know at the end of the video how it turns out. Okay, now on to the chicken fajita casserole. I'm using boneless, skinless thighs, and I think there's a couple of tenders in there as well. I've got 1 orange bell pepper, 1 red bell pepper, and 1 chopped and seeded jalapeno, which you do not need to use if you don't like. In my seasonings, I've got 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder, 1 minced garlic clove, although you can use instead 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of paprika. You're gonna mix that all together and then we're gonna season the chicken with that later. First, I'm gonna salt and pepper, and you wanna salt and pepper both sides of your chicken. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the seasoning on both sides, but reserve just a little bit of the seasoning so that you can season the vegetables. Okay, so I moved my chicken to a larger pan and I'm going to drizzle it with 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. And then I'm gonna put the chopped vegetables on top. Again, that's the bell pepper and the jalapeno. After that, I'm going to use the remaining bits of the seasoning that I kept over, and I'm going to sprinkle that on top of the vegetables to give them seasoning as well. And then I had some leftover white onion from the pepper steak that I made, so I just chopped some of that up and sprinkled that on top as well. And again, that's totally your preference whether you want onion or not. After that, we're going to do the cheese. I've got about 1 cup remaining in a bag of mozzarella cheese shredded, and then I bought some Monterey Jack with jalapeno. I'm going to mix those together and then sprinkle that all on top of this delicious chicken and vegetables. I used about half of the bag of Monterey Jack. And I mixed those both cheeses together and just sprinkled that all over the top. I left it a little heavy. I put it in a 400-degree preheated oven for 25 minutes. The recipe states 15 to 20. I gave it to 25. And then when it's done, you put it on high broil for 2 minutes. And then wait until you see it. Okay, the 2 minutes on broil is over. It is beautiful. It smells amazing. I think you guys will really like this. Again, something good by itself on a tortilla. Great out of the freezer. Enjoy it, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for joining me.